Simple is simplify processes, amplify results. Simple is.
As we are done with our introduction, I'm going to go back to our expert panel. We are joined by Ma'am Itat Rubab. She is a mentor and a well-known face in the Pakistani education landscape. Azra Tahir, really renowned for her set of skills. Rahila, a champion of mental health, and she reached all the way to a head's position. Kashif, being a friend, and he understands Pakistani system from a different lens as well. Maimuna and Farhan, they're from the counselors fraternity, very well and quite seasoned names. So welcome you all. Thank you so much. I'm going to go straight to my first question, and that is, what is Pakistan's K12 education system? And if I could request Ma'am Itrat to just shed some light and share her point of view. Ma'am Itrat, over to you.
Pakistani K12 education system. I'll just give a brief about our system. We in Pakistan almost getting all kind of system in. You can say the Cambridge, O levels, GSIS, and all these systems are are here and doing really wonderfully well. Why we are doing this? The history of Pakistan is bit hard. Once we'll talk about the education at this moment we have literacy rate for our youth is 74.5, and that the age covering is 15 to 24 years age of students. But we consider that these students and these youth is the agent of change for us. We have a high hopes for our students, and I believe me that whenever they are being given the opportunities and providing the opportunities, they excel and they make us proud everywhere. So uh, it is really hard to say, but it is the reality that education is in a turmoil in my country since quite long. But fortunately, the awareness is great now, and especially I would say that the youth has really taken up. They are adults and they are really conscious about what all is going on in our country and what all is going on in their surrounding. And for that, these American universities and the other opportunities, they are really into all these things. But once we'll talk about exactly education system, I must say whatever system like the metric system is our government is basically what they are providing, and the other system, the private sector has really come up and they are doing great job in terms of imparting knowledge and in terms of settling down the education in my country.
We go to the second question. That is, what are its significant features? So, can we have Ma'am Azra for this question, and she would just shed her, a point of view. She will share her point of view. Hello, Ma'am Azra. Let me repeat my question. Thank you so much for joining us. You could turn on your mic. I think your mic is on. What are the significant features of Pakistani K-12 system? What is your point of view of this?
Yeah, thank you, Mansoor, for giving me the opportunity to share my point of view about the significant features of the K-12 education. Dealing with the high school and the colleges and the career counseling for many years, I have a good idea that how the diversity of curriculums and the exam boards that we are dealing with provide a good platform for our students to get admission into the international universities and to decide for their higher education. Though Pakistan universities are doing a wonderful job, they are amazing, but their ranking is good in South Asia, but not internationally. So once it comes the defining moment for the students to go for the undergrad or grad or the postgrad programs, they always prefer to go for the for UK, US, or Canadian universities, and preferably to US universities. And the students who have the aspirations from the very beginning to continue their higher studies abroad, they are very focused and very hard. They work really hard to achieve the requirements of those international universities, the criterias that they ask for. And you can well imagine that and national positions in different subjects, and that shows that how serious they are about their future plans. So for students, there are limitations and challenges that they face at the time of deciding for the universities, and private sector is doing a wonderful job to bridge the gap, and they provide the excellent facilities of career counseling to give them to give a good understanding to the students that how they can prove themselves the best options for the universities, and they can go into into the universities of their choice, and they can select the subjects of their choice.
Fantastic. Well, that was really great to hear. Thank you, Ma'am Azra. Thank you so much. I'm going to go to Rahila right now for the next question. Rahila, would you share your point of view that how different or similar it is from the US or North American school or education systems when we compare with the Pakistani system? So over to Rahila, if you could turn on your camera and your mic.
Well, the K-12 education in Pakistan, I would say, is quite different from the one being offered in the US. The secondary education normally in Pakistan begins from grade 9 and lasts for like 4 years. And at end of each of the school year, students would take an exam. The year. So Mansoor, basically, I believe that the American education system, K-12 education system, is quite easier than the Cambridge education being offered in Pakistan. Obviously, I'm not comparing it with the local
100%.
board system. And I believe
Exactly.
the Cambridge K-12 comes with a proper curriculum, has a beautiful balance of extra and co-curricular activities, which definitely complements.
Okay.
Just conclude my argument.
Yes.
And I would say that K-12 Cambridge qualifications, which are being offered in Pakistan, are holistic. They are super competitive. And I believe that they are making our students prepared, ready for their, rough and bumpy undergrad rides. Obviously, once they're going to go to the, Ivy Leagues or, Russell Group and the amazing universities. So I believe makes their journey a lot easier.
Very well said, Rahila. We kind of losing you, but I think that's very well said. The students are they're really formidable once they apply to Ivy Leagues or Stanford, Yales or universities. So I think that's what my friend Rahila wanted to say. Rahila, I'm going to go to Kashif. If you could make Kashif the presenter. Have there been any recent changes in the education policy in Pakistan?
One of the key points that I wanted to make as far as policy is concerned, he briefly touched upon there. That is single national curriculum. That is the major shift in the policy that happened last year. Keep one thing in mind that after 18th Amendment in Constitution of Pakistan, one major shift that has taken place is now education and educational policies and implementation, all that is now provincial matter. It's no more centralized in nature. So those single national curriculum was implemented, brought in action with the core focus and the objective of moving away from rote memorization and focus on project inquiry and activity-based learning. But still, since provinces have their own autonomy, whether they want to implement it fully or they want to make necessary changes in that. So one or two provinces still, thinking on implementation of this. But it's too early to say about the outcome of this single national curriculum, whether we'll be able to, or we are heading in the right direction or not, because since that was the first year and implemented till class 5 only, means primary level. Now,
Fantastic.
another aspect that I would like to talk about, it seems like that last year it happened, post-corona period. The IBCC is one governing body that actually provides the equivalent certificates of foreign qualification like OA and A levels with the local systems, that is HSSC or Higher Secondary School Certificate. The IBCC earlier fixed that A star equivalent to 90%, and that was a fix for a longer period of time. There was concerns on the part of the parents and the students where students were enrolled in O and A levels. Now they have moved ahead they have started accepting it. Universities are already, I mean, public sector universities in Pakistan are accepting the students, but they were out of race once that was fixed on 90%. Now they are awarding 93 to 96%. So that's another plus or change in the policy as far as in education is concerned, specifically talking about OA level students.
Thank you. Kashif, I'm not surprised the way brief you are. Nothing changed in the last 13, 14 years. You are still the researcher. Thank you so much. Maimuna and Farhan, I have a question for you. What works best in Pakistani high school with respect to international recruitment? So you both are counselors, good counselors, elite counselors. How would you see what works best in Pakistani institutions when it comes to international recruiting?
Now, Pakistani high school students, either coming from the general Pakistani system of matriculation towards FA or FSC, or coming from the Cambridge system of Edexcel or Cambridge or O level or IGCSE towards A levels, these high school students are now getting quite aware about the fact that the population in Pakistan for the youth is highest. And they're also being aware that the country has, earlier when Ma'am Azra talked about the universities in Pakistan and saying nice things, yes, we do respect the Pakistani universities. But another thing is the capacity of the Pakistani universities. The capacity is less and the population is more. So in terms of demand and supply, it's not matching. So one factor that she highlighted was ranking. I would highlight other factors like education standards and availability of seats. Like obviously every child would love to sit at home and eat a homemade food and, bed made by the, servants and living a luxurious life by living in their home country. But they are aware that the facilities in Pakistani universities in terms of student development, student portfolio development, and higher employability, and other facilities and factors are not there. Also, because I earlier said the universities are less and the students are more, so they are looking towards the international recruitment. So I think, can we have Farhan Sab as well here, so he can also talk about what are the ticks in the boxes that should be there in a Pakistani high school student for being recruited international university on financial aid and fully funded scholarships. I would like him to say a few words as well.
Well, to be honest, because I can see there are almost about 100 of people who have joined this webinar. So I'll just, in a nutshell, I'll just try to wrap it up from the other presenters as well before adding on to the question. Well, regarding the policy in Pakistan, well, there have been quite a few changes in the recent past, I would say. But I think with the regime change and the government change, the new government is looking into implementing back the previous curriculum and the policy. So that's in the nutshell. I won't go into the details. Well, we have two systems going on in Pakistan. So private school systems and the government school systems. In the high schools in Pakistan, the majority of the high schools in Pakistan are not private. They are more toward from the government side, and they don't have the privileges and they don't have the, what we call it, like the elitism as most of the private schools have in Pakistan. So when we talk about recruiting Pakistani students from high schools to the universities, specifically in the USA, we find the deficiency in this particular area, because we don't find many counselors who can guide the students well in this scenario. So the students from non-private institutions, they turn towards the education consultants in Pakistan, and because that works best for those students, because they don't have access to the counselors, or maybe the private counselors are charging too much, and it's not affordable for the students. So in a nutshell, we have the K12 system in Pakistan, the high school system. We have like the US-based AP system in the major cities like in Islamabad, Karachi, and Lahore. very few of the schools are following that AP curriculum, which is in the USA. We have the IBDP, the IB diploma program in Pakistan, in most of the private schools. And then we have the Cambridge system, which is very popular. Along with that, we have the local board system and the local education system, which is called matric and FSC, the higher education, the higher secondary school certification, which works best for the Pakistani students when they're applying to the universities abroad. So to cut it short, I would say, well, the Pakistani students are aware of applying to the international universities. And I would just extend what my colleague Memuna just mentioned, that the students, they know, they really know how to actually find resources, because they are keen to go to the universities abroad, particularly the USA. Because I personally guess that USA is one of those countries in where Pakistani students do apply, and the major reason, the primary reason for it is the scholarship that the US universities are giving away to these high school students. So yes, I mean, to put it in a nutshell, I would just say that the Pakistani students are really smart and they're brilliant. They do apply to the universities abroad, but I think the private school systems in Pakistan, they are more privileged because they have counselors like Memuna and then Memazra and then Rahila and then other colleagues who guide them and who work toward their portfolio. And as US universities look into the portfolio, it's not just the academics, but as far as the non-private students and the schools in Pakistan are concerned, I think they are less privileged because they only work toward academics, but not building up the student portfolio. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Thank you, Farhan. That was really brief, and whenever a counselor speak, it really resonates of whatever we say and we implement. Thank you so much for that. Well, thank you so much again, everyone. Khwaja would like to wrap it up. Khwaja, over to you, to my co-host, Khwaja.
A big thank you to all our panelists. Thank you, each one of you for taking out time and joining in. And a big thank you to all the US universities that are joining in with us this evening, rather their morning, from United States.
Simple is simplify processes, amplify results.